What's up, brothers? Welcome back to Fourth and Troll Fantasy, the most entertaining fantasy football podcast on the planet. My name is Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And shout out to Sketch. We love you, Sketch. Come on the pod, Sketch. I sent him a DM, by the way, from our Instagram account.
Did
Wes,
you?
And I was like, hey, yeah. I was like, dude, do you want to play fantasy football with us in 2024? And no response yet,
awesome.
but we're still holding out. Sketch, this one's
That'd be really
out to
fun.
you, buddy. This episode is dedicated to Sketch. And we're going to have a good time today. Listen, we got a fun show for you. We have gone through the NFL draft. We made it out the other side. Lots of things to talk about. We are giving you our fantasy football draft grades today on the episode. We're very excited. It's going to be a good old time. Going to talk about the rookies, some of the impacts on the other players. It's going to be a blast. Before we do all that, make sure you're following us on all our socials down below. Join our Patreon. We got a few tiers there. You can go ahead and join our Discord community. You can play fantasy football with us and get some exclusive merch in another tier. It's a great time, great place to hang out. Make sure you jump in there, get in that Discord. We were talking about the draft all weekend long, live, reacting. It was a fun time. Good chats in there. Good chats, lots of good chats. Let's get into it. Wes, there's some news to talk about before we go into these rookies. So hit us with some news, some trades, and we'll get into it.
There actually is a trade. Real quick, preface, you can hear from my voice, it's a little scratchy. Just little small mild infection, so bear with me the entire episode as I try to talk for 45 minutes. And if I don't laugh, if I don't laugh at your jokes, Noah, it's because you're not funny. It's not because of my voice. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's fair.
So here we go. Here's the news from it's terrible. My voice is gone. All right. So some of you may have heard that Tank Dell was in a nightclub where someone tried to shoot up the club. Very terrible situation. He was one of the victims. He was shot, but very fortunately, the wounds were very minor, and he was released from the hospital shortly afterwards. Doesn't seem to be any long-term effects for him, so everything is okay for Tank Dell. We're very happy to hear that. But that is the update for anyone that was looking for that. Here's the big trade, friends. Broncos have a new quarterback. Zach Wilson was traded just before the draft. Oh, man. Zach Wilson, let's ride. I'm pumped. This is going to be great. Bright future for him. So in Philadelphia, some time ago, last episode, we talked about how they signed Devonta Smith to a massive extension. A.J. Brown signed a 3-year deal with the Eagles for $96 million. They both got paid this offseason. That is so exciting to me. They love their guys. They're sticking with them for a long time. This next piece of news is amazing. So Darren Waller may have retired. It has not been officially confirmed, but it has been. But it also hasn't been. So some sources have said that Darren Waller has retired. And then some of the larger outlets haven't actually pushed an air forward. The Giants haven't commented, but the Giants are expecting Darren Waller to retire, which is great because you stick around. We're going to talk about the tight end the Giants drafted because we are also expecting Darren Waller to retire. Yeah. But that's the situation. No one, I think he was waiting to retire to see if the Giants would have drafted a quarterback. And it's like, it's still Daniel Jones. Peace out. Hanging out the cleats.
Nope.
So during the draft, the Bills signed former Lions wide receiver Quintez Cephas, who was on the Lions last year but was suspended for the entire season for a gambling suspension. He may have an impact. Who knows? It's something to bring up because of the depleted wide receiver room there. Travis Kelce signed a 2-year extension with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's going to be there for another couple of years. Try to get a three-peat. And Taylor Swift's man.
He got it. Unfamiliar. I didn't know him by name, but got it.
Right. And then try to get a 4-peat for them as well.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott. You were waiting for what running back the Cowboys were going to draft? Nada! Because they're getting Ezekiel Elliott, baby. Let's go! Goodness. RB1 season. Anyway, speaking of Cowboys, former Cowboys wide receiver Michael Gallup signed a 1-year deal with the Raiders. And that's it for the news. Let's go into our draft grades, Noah.
Let's do it, dude. I'm excited to talk about this. We've each graded out the picks, and this is more in regard for this year in fantasy football, while we do love to talk about dynasty a little bit, and we've been in some dynasty drafts. Even I don't know if we're degenerates for already getting into dynasty drafts like a day after the draft ended, but we are here. We've been in some already. We've got guys that we like.
We have a problem.
This is primarily redraft that we're talking about. We will mention a little bit of dynasty impact as well, but these are grades based off of dynasty, or sorry, not based off dynasty, but more redraft this season with a little bit of dynasty mixed in. So we're going to start out with round one here, and first guy to talk about was the first guy picked in the night was Caleb Williams, who hauled ass up to the stage. Dude,
I love seeing him fired up.
He was just like, he got the call and then they announced it. And like, usually people take the slow walk and they're feeling the emotions. And he's like, I've like known this since like January. So, I mean, I'm just ready. Let's go. And
didn't he take the hat and just go to the stage and even put it on in front of the mirror?
He didn't even stop at the mirror to like do his thing. He just grabbed the hat. Yeah. They cut to the mirror shot and no one was there. And it was like, it was like the Truman Show when they're like searching for the guy. And they just can't find Truman on screen. Yeah, that was Caleb Williams. Wes, we both gave this pick an A. Home run pick for the Bears. They found their guy. They're set. They've got a great cast around them. Should be awesome. I don't have much more beyond that. I mean, it's funny. These earlier guys, there's not going to be a whole lot to talk about because we've kind of discussed it already and the potential of what it could be. But Caleb Williams should be great. Should be awesome. Yeah. He's got a great cast around him.
The only two things I'll mention is that, historically, rookie quarterbacks produce pretty insignificant wide receivers in fantasy, but it takes a special quarterback like CJ Stroud last year to produce a solid wide receiver. And I think Caleb Williams can do that. It feels great. And also what I like is that everyone was expecting to be Caleb Williams. You can imagine like DeAndre Swift was trying to ask like, hey, you're getting Caleb Williams, right? Like the people that were signing to the Bears were like, it's Caleb, right? It's Caleb. You're drafting Caleb.
Keenan was at his pro day.
Right. Yes, exactly. So like people like were expecting it. And so everything falls into place. They're already ready for him. A solid A.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Grade.
Yeah. Can't wait to watch what he does. I don't know if he'll be top 12. We'll see. Potential there, but we'll see. He'll have to do some solid work there. Next guy off the board is a guy we really love, Wes, is Jayden Daniels at the 102, second pick overall. Goes to the Washington Commanders. Some smoke screens is what it seemed like based off of some reports. Maybe his agent and him weren't really thrilled with the visit. We thought, what's going on here? And Daniels even said it right after he got drafted in the interview. He was like, yeah, I've played some games with y'all, but no, I'm excited to be here. And it was like, all right, cool. I gave it an A along with Caleb Williams. Wes, you gave it an A+. You've got it for fantasy football. It's definitely the plus is worthy.
The plus is because the Commanders' defense is absolute shit. So they're going to be point chasing all season long. I think that's fantastic. I mean, as soon as they got rid of Montez Sweat and Chase Young last year, it was horrendous. No wonder Sam Howell was a top 10 fantasy quarterback for most of the season because he was leading the league in passing yards for so long. So you had Jayden Daniels, even though he's a rookie, he has the best chance to be top 15 of all these rookie quarterbacks. Absolutely. I think it'll be phenomenal. He is the rookie I want to draft as my backup to whatever quarterback I draft. But because their defense is so terrible, he's going to have to point chase. I love that for fantasy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. He's got that elite rushing upside. It's going to be great. Next guy here, Drake Maye, went right after as the third overall pick to the New England Patriots. I gave this a B. Wes, you give it a C+, a little lower than me, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not like thrilled.
No.
But I think he is, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, the third most skilled quarterback in the class. And when you're the third overall pick, you're bought in. You're going to build around this guy. They did it later in the draft. They picked up a wide receiver early in the second round. I just think that New England's going to keep sucking. So he's going to have to play well if they want to win games. And I hear that's a goal in football. So
Sure. Just ask the Panthers.
Yeah. What do you think about Drake Maye landing in New England, Wes?
I think it's the pick that everyone thought was the most likely to happen, but I also I give it a C plus, like you said, because it's just not going to be fantasy relevant for anyone. And we'll talk about the receivers the Patriots got as well, because they're going to need someone to catch the ball other than Hunter Henry and Demario Douglas, and there are some rookies they got, and we'll talk about them. But either way, I don't see Drake Maye as even being on anybody's bench at any point during the season.
Yeah, he won't be drafted. He'll be a guy that you pick up on waivers if he ends up doing better than we all think. So we're in love with this next guy going off the board, 4th overall. We loved it. We said we hope they don't be stupid and trade out of this pick. The Cardinals take Marvin Harrison Jr., and it is a home run. I am a Phoenix resident. Everyone out here is hyped. So excited for this guy. Kyler Murray himself. I don't know if you guys saw that social clip or if you saw it, Wes, but there's watching the draft as they announce it, and he's just like, let's go, man. He's just super hyped up to get Marvin Harrison on his team. We've seen what Kyler Murray can be whenever he has a true blue chip wide receiver. Whenever he had DeAndre Hopkins, we saw what that did for DeAndre Hopkins as well. It's a fantastic home run pick, and we both gave it an A+. Like, it is one of the best of the draft in our opinion. So do you have more to add, or can we move
I have
on?
one more thing. Just for a vote of confidence to draft Marvin Harrison, because it's not just a great spot for him to land, but because you got to replace DeAndre Hopkins and Marquise Brown. But rookie wide receivers usually do not do that great. And we've seen it happen more often the last couple of years, but these are very, very, very special wide receivers that make the top 10, like Odell Beckham Jr. in his rookie season, and Jamar Chase. And I think we can say Puka Nacua is probably very, very special. It takes a very special player to be top 10. Marvin Harrison Jr. is that guy. He will be top 15 in my book. I mean, I'm not going to have done my rankings yet, but absolutely draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
I think he'll be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football and redraft this year. So next guy was the guy that went in between, or not in between, but just after the Chargers there. The 6th overall pick, Malik Nabers, goes to the New York Giants. I also gave this an A+. I love Malik Nabers. I love the skill set that he brings. I think that he is going to be, and not think, who else is the offense on this team? There's no one. So I think Malik Nabers is looking at potentially I think the dude could see 130 targets this year. I think he's going to be absolutely a volume machine. He's walking into a scenario where he can have a 25 to 30% target share on the offense. And I think he's going to be an absolute stud with his skill set. I gave it an A+. You give it a B-. Wes, break that down a little bit for us before we move on to the most exciting pick of the NFL.
I don't need to break it down that much. It's just Daniel Jones. That's the only reason. I just knock it down because Daniel Jones. And there's pros and cons to him being the only option. He's the only skill player. And it's like now Darren Waller's probably gone as well. And you have no one else. I mean, Jalen Hyatt maybe has a nice second year. Who knows? But maybe it's just that's why I'm much more conservative about it. I think I love him. And I think he will be worth taking in like the maybe late 4th round, turn to the 4th and 5th round of redraft.
Somewhere in that 4th to 6th or something like that, depending on where he goes.
Off the top of my head, that's where I would take him. But I do think he's a good pick. I'm gonna take the offseason to see how I feel about him drafting him this year.
Love it. The next pick we're going to talk about here, Mr. Michael Penix Jr. to the Atlanta Falcons. I gave this grade a F-, and F is for what a fun pick that was made there at the 8th overall pick. It doesn't make any sense to me to draft a backup quarterback for the future at the 8th overall pick. I know that they're trying to spin it as we're not going to pick this high again. Whatever they're trying to do, I don't get it. I don't buy it. He has zero relevance for fantasy football this season. So probably for next season. Maybe he'll play 3 years from now. Maybe when Kirk Cousins turns 38, they turn to Michael Penix Jr. But I don't know. Seems
Maybe.
real strange, Wes. You gave it a C plus, which is generous over my grade. So convince me on why I'm an idiot.
No. You're not an idiot. That is the proper grade. Just in general, it is an F. It's a bad decision. But the spin I have, the reason I'm willing to push this as high as the C plus, is because right now that means that this Falcons organization believes in this offense. They believe in their team right now. So the hype around Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins and Bijan's second year and Drake London having a wide receiver one season is affirmed by this pick, in my opinion. They should have got defense. That's fine. But like the fact they're saying our team is good is great now. They're ready to say, we're going to win at least one Super Bowl with this team now. So let's go get our guy to play in 3 years because we're going to be in the NFC Championship game every single season. That's the reason I give it a C plus, because it to me, it shouts, this is it. The Falcons offense we want to draft is being affirmed by the Falcons organization. Overall, it's a stupid ass decision. It's a stupid pick, but that gives me hope that what we're believing in for this Falcons team is ready. And I'm excited to draft multiple Falcons in my team, hopefully.
It's fair analysis. That's fair analysis. I love this next pick that was made in the draft, the 9th overall pick, Rome Odunze to the Chicago Bears. I gave this an A. I almost gave it a B, but then I thought about it. And this year, I think Rome Odunze still is worth drafting. I think he will have his games. I think he'll have his flashes. And he's paired up with Caleb Williams in rookie seasons. They are linked. I love that they're going to move up in this league and develop together. And Rome Odunze gets to learn under two of the best wide receivers that I've seen play in my lifetime, which was, especially in the modern era, of DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. So I'm really excited about Rome Odunze. I gave it an A. Wes, you give it a B minus?
Only because I don't know how well he will start out the season. But I think he could grow into an A player for your fantasy team at the second half of the regular season. But to start out, I don't know how he's going to fit with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift and Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. I don't know where he's going to fit in the first 6, 7, 8 games. But I think after week 10 or whatever it is, then he's going to be that 9th pick overall. And I think that's going to be where one
of those later in the year kind of rookie breakouts, kind of that's my where he really starts having that production.
Yeah. There's so many mouths to feed, and I think they all need to get fed. But I think eventually he's going to be where you've ranked him. And I think in the end it is an A, but just not to start.
I love that. And to tie in Dynasty real quick, this is my favorite pick of the top 10 for Dynasty. Rome Odunze, getting this guy who's going to be able to go, be able to kind of sit back a little bit, learn, kind of feel things out, and then again linked to this rookie quarterback as well. Really, really like that pick. Let's jump here and now into JJ McCarthy, who goes 10th overall. The Vikings trade up to get him. We don't love McCarthy, but when we were first scouting this guy out, Wes, I texted you and I said, I think with the right coach and fit, like, he could end up fine and could end up being serviceable. And I called out by name Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings. I said, if he lands in Minnesota, maybe he isn't going to end up being as bad as we think. I gave this pick a B. You gave it a C+. So we're not too far off here, Wes. What are your thoughts here on JJ McCarthy before we move on to the 6th quarterback taken in the top 12 picks?
Amazing.
Insane.
I give JJ McCarthy a C+ because I think it hurts Jordan Addison's value. Mm-hmm. And I think it pushes TJ Hawkinson probably out of the top 5 for tight ends. Mm-hmm. Justin Jefferson, I think, is still too good to consider him out of the top 10, but I think it's just a reality we have to admit. Like, only one of these Vikings players is really worth drafting, and that's Justin Jefferson. Maybe Aaron Jones, if you get him as your RB2 later on. But I think it's just a reality we have to accept now, and we'll have months to accept it, that these Vikings players are probably not worth drafting because they have a rookie quarterback. So I'm taking the C+ to get my mindset into that space now.
Sure. And not to mention that TJ Hawkinson is going to be coming off an injury to start the season, so he may not be available right away. It's going to be tough. You got to really decide if you're going to stash him and hold on to him. If you think maybe the tight end can be the rookie quarterback's best friend, I don't know. But I know that Kevin O'Connell believes in J.J. McCarthy and wants him to work. I'm sure of it. So we'll see what happens there. Then, like I just said, the sixth quarterback of the first round, Bo Nix, goes to the Denver Broncos at the 12th overall pick. Wes, you were a lot higher on Bo Nix than I was coming into the draft.
Oh, yeah.
We both end up
Love
giving
it.
this pick a C+.
Yeah.
I personally, I hope this works. I think we'll talk about it in a little bit, but the Broncos go ahead and link Troy Franklin, the wide receiver from Oregon that just played with Bo Nix and had a great season. They draft him later on day 3. I just don't really know what to make of it. I think I've said to you before, I think there's legitimately a chance that anyone who's on this Broncos roster and in this Broncos starting lineup this season could be out of it in the next 2 years, just because Sean Payton might just redo this entire offense. So I don't know. I don't know what Bo Nix is going to do in redraft this season. I don't love the fit, and I don't know. Well, give me your thoughts as a Bo Nix, really big Bo Nix fan.
I think it's a great spot for him because he is already one of the he's probably the third best player on the offense. Just honestly, he's already an important piece. He's the quarterback, of course, he's an important piece, but there's nothing for him in fantasy this season. I can admit that as a Bo Nix lover. I'm Bo Nix's lover. We are a secret love affair. But no, I love the guy. It's not this year. It's not for fantasy this year. I gave it a C+ because I think it's the best fit. And it's a chance for him to. He's very mobile. He has a pretty good rushing upside as well. So I think there's opportunities for him to maybe fill in for a bye week or an injury late in the season. Like I'm really putting asterisks on this, but just not this season. Next year maybe.
Yeah. Let's move on to Brock Bowers here, who falls to the 13th pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. I give this fit a B+. Wes, you gave this fit a C. I think the Raiders just got to the point where it was like, well, he's fallen this far. It's kind of ridiculous to not take him right now. This is the best player available. We don't have glaring needs anywhere else. But his quarterback's going to be Gardner Minshew, and there's a guy named Devontae Adams on this team and a guy named Jacoby Myers on this team who emerged a little bit. For this season, I don't love it. For Dynasty, I also didn't love it initially because they just drafted Michael Mayer last season.
Yeah.
So I think they've got plans for Brock Bowers, but I give this a B+. You give this a C. I just think it's wait and see this year. I don't think we can do anything with him this year in the redraft.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Brian Thomas Jr. is the next guy we're going to talk about. Goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars at the 23rd overall pick. I really like this fit. I actually gave this draft pick grade an A. I love the fit here for Brian Thomas Jr. Really like the player a lot. And they're looking to replace Calvin Ridley because they lost him. And I think what this came down to for me was I think Brian Thomas Jr. has a chance to be a better player this season than last year's Calvin Ridley was. Because how many times did we watch Calvin Ridley drop touchdowns and just was not involved in the game and just wasn't around? It didn't feel like anything was going on. I know there are names in this wide receiver room, but I think this wide receiver room is a little more wide open than we might think. Christian Kirk's there. He's not technically the alpha number 1 wide receiver. They just signed Gabe Davis for whatever reason they felt like doing that. I don't know. So I give this an A. You give this a C, a little bit substantially lower than I do. What are your thoughts on Brian Thomas Jr. to the Jaguars?
You were already touching on it. I think there are plenty of hands to receive a football pass from, and that also includes Evan Ingram and Travis Etienne. So right now I have reservations about taking him, but I think he'll end up pretty far in the redraft anyway, so it's not a high risk. But
sure,
I'm also still I'll admit I'm still a little bitter about about Trevor Lawrence. Like I'm also not
too.
very excited about him this year. So just in general, I'm skeptical about his season this year.
This is almost a lower grade for me because I was going, okay, we've equipped Trevor before. Does he maybe not have it? And I think he's still got enough traits to show me. But
how dare
I'm burned from last year. I'm
so burned. I'm so mad at him.
One of my favorite wide receivers coming into the draft was Xavier Worthy, and he lands with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. What a fit here for this guy. Great opportunity, great scenario. I gave it an A- just because he's going to battle for targets with Travis Kelce, with Rashee Rice for a part of the year, likely. And they just brought in Hollywood Brown, who, but they traded up with the Buffalo Bills. That hasn't ever worked for them before, to get Xavier Worthy. So I think they got plans for him. I think it's going to be an exciting pick and an exciting fit for him. Yeah, I gave him an A-. You gave him an A. You're a little higher than me. What are your thoughts on Worthy?
Will the Bills ever learn? Will they learn? We'll talk about them because we're going to get to their wide receiver they drafted out of the first round. They traded out of twice. And then Xavier Worthy. I mean, even my girlfriend, she was like, did they just trade with the Chiefs? Wes, didn't you just make this documentary about what happened? And I was like, I know. It's crazy. I was not as high on Xavier Worthy as you are, but you can't teach speed. And when you have Mahomes, oh, man, there's going to be a lot of weak. He's probably one of the most boomer bust wide receivers of this class for this season. But, oh, man, there could not be a better fit. Maybe Miami, but there could not be a better fit.
Yeah, really exciting stuff there for Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. At pick 31 in round one, night one of the NFL draft, the San Francisco 49ers took Ricky Pearsall, which I immediately responded back with what the hell?
Who?
No, it's like I scouted Pearsall. He seemed like a fine receiver. I definitely thought he could get day 2 capital, maybe second or third round. For them to take him with pick 31 just feels weird, and I don't really fully get it. But we'll see what happens. I think there's definitely a plan in place. I give this a C+. You give this a D.
With an asterisk, because it depends if Ayuk or Debo end up getting traded.
That's what I was about to say. I was going to say I reserve the right to change this grade if a trade happens. You do. Because Pearsall kind of gives the Debo kind of play style, the Debo kind of scheme and fit. So maybe if they are trying to move him, that was the plan. But like I just don't see how a guy who's going to come in and be immediately, like with no questions asked, be the 5th option on this offense. Like, are we drafting Juwan Jennings in fantasy football this year? No. So we're not going to draft Ricky Pearsall. That's just not what all the Pearsall truths are going to come from me now and be like, oh, you're going to compare their game and their skill set? And it's no. But I'm just saying,
he is.
This
yes,
offense,
he is. Come at us. Come at Noah. At NB Selb. Find him on Twitter.
Wrong, so we're good. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, what is it?
I don't know.
What is it?
Moving on.
I don't know.
Moving on. And the 32nd pick, for last pick in the night one of the draft, the Carolina Panthers taking Xavier Legette, who, Wes, we talked about. He was an exciting guy. We didn't know what he was going to be because he had such a crazy college career at South Carolina. He comes in. I give him a B on the grade. You give him a C-. Tell me why I need to be lower on Xavier Legette.
I love the guy. He was wide receiver 3 on my rankings from the wide receivers I scouted. I love him. I think he's awesome. That's a lot of wide receivers in the Carolina Panthers room. They have Adam Thielen. They have Deontay Johnson. And then just to go into the other draft picks the Panthers got, they drafted a running back as well in the second round, which was a round earlier than the next running back selected. And they got a tight end as well, one of the top 3 tight ends. Glaring need for them. There's a lot of pieces that the Panthers are trying to put around Bryce Young, which I appreciate and respect. They also drafted Jonathan Mingo last year, another rookie. DJ Chark, I think, is still on the team. There are so many guys that are going to they're going to play on this team that are going to be pass catchers. So right now, I don't know how he's going to play in a redraft league. So I love the guy, and I think it was worth getting in Dynasty. If you already got him, congratulations! I got him one league. If you have yet to play, awesome. But for redraft, I'm kind of out. There's just too many guys.
Yeah, not loving it for redraft. I agree. I think he's going to be potentially a dynasty development for redraft. Not a big fan. That's it for round 1. Let's jump into round 2 here, and we'll go through these guys a little quicker because if you got more questions on these guys, drop in the comments. Let us know. But most of these guys are going to be more kind of the dynasty kind of plays that we kind of referenced at the beginning here. Have more of that dynasty value. Let's start out here, top of the second round with Keon Coleman, the new toy for Josh Allen. I gave this a B+. You gave this a C. I gave it a B+ because who was the previous wide receiver one in Buffalo? Like Curtis Samuel? And I think getting a new hot rookie that I'm sure that Josh Allen handpicked. Because if Vlad McConkey is on the board and you don't take him when you have a wide receiver need, foolishness. Absolute foolishness. So I give it a B+. You're the new wide receiver one for Josh Allen. He's going to go later, likely. Take a dart throw and redraft. That's my thought process. What do you think, Wes?
I was trying to find where I texted you. Oh, here it is. So he excuse me. Josh Allen was on a show. It's like a Carson Palmer's show. And he listed the wide receivers he likes the most. And of course he said Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers. Yeah, Durhay, of course you like them. But he said he loves Rome Odunze. He loves Brian Thomas Jr. And he loves Adonai Mitchell. Those are the other 3 wide receivers he listed. So I just get confused. I don't know. I don't think he handpicked. Yeah. So I give it a C because I wasn't impressed with Keon Coleman. I thought he was borderline first round pick. I guess he was literally borderline first round pick. But
literally borderline, yeah.
I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. What it does give me confidence for is Dalton Kincaid's season is 9.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go, dude. Let's get this season. Guy top 5 for sure. Feels like that's a clean, easy draft pick. It feels that way right now. Here we are, end of the draft, Dalton Kincaid.
I just mentioned this guy. Vlad McConkey goes to the Los Angeles Chargers with the second pick of the second round. Yes! 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 I'm so happy with this pick.
Yeah,
Vlad McConkey, give a guy like this, a quarterback like Justin Herbert, even in a run-heavy offense, I don't even care, dude. Vlad McConkey is going to have 120 targets this season. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see how they use this guy. A pick for me. You give it a B, Wes. What are your thoughts?
You've already said it's a run-first offense, it feels like, with Jim Harbaugh. And, I've just – maybe Josh Palmer still has some really great rapport with Herbert, but I don't think it matters.
Quentin Johnson did.
Quentin Johnson, that's what I learned.
He's going to give Vlad McConkey a run for his money.
Jim Harbaugh walked in and was like, that guy sucks ass. Let's get him wide receiver.
He's so bad.
As soon as we can. Yeah. No, I think it's a good pick. Good pick for the Chargers.
I love Harbaugh. They're talking about they has a press conference at the end of night one, and one of the reporters addresses, are we looking to get some offensive weapons? And they selected Joe Alt with the 5th overall pick, this massive 6'8" offensive tackle.
Oh yeah.
And Harbaugh's like, we see linemen as offensive weapons. And I'm like, well, Joe Alt's gonna be running fly routes all season long. We'll see what happens. Vlad McConkey.
You draft him in IDP.
Yeah. Jalen Polk is the wide receiver that the New England Patriots choose to pair with Drake Maye here, and with their new franchise quarterback out of Washington. Man, a lot of those Washington wide receivers went off the board. That offense was humming last season, and the NFL seemed to like it as well.
Yeah.
I gave it a B-. You gave it a C. I gave it a B- because somebody has to catch passes, right? Like the wide receiver room is so wide open. Like Devontae Parker isn't even there anymore. It's like Demario Douglas, I can't name another. Kendrick Bourne. Actually, that was a lie. But like, it's like
Is
cool.
Juju still
Jalen
there?
Polk is here. Oh my gosh, Juju. Maybe, I don't know.
Change your grade.
Dude has
You can
been
change
in
your
the
grade
news
on air.
for a while, a little bit. But anyway, I don't know. I give it a B minus. You give it a C. I did for redraft. Not loving it, but we'll see what happens.
I have nothing to comment. It just doesn't matter.
It's more of a dynasty pick. Like I said, a lot of these guys are getting more of these dynasty picks. But more exciting one here to talk about. Jonathan Brooks. Shocker. Did not see this happening. Jonathan Brooks goes to the Carolina Panthers. I give us a B plus. You give us a B minus. Wes, we feel pretty similarly. He's going to come in whenever he gets healthy. I feel like he will be this 3-down back kind of guy. What are your thoughts here on Jonathan Brooks?
They spent early capital to get a running back. That speaks volumes to me. And he is, as you mentioned in our last episode, the most likely to be a 3-down back. So yeah, I love it. I mean, there's a lot of, as I mentioned with Xavier Legette, there's a lot of, it seems like it's very pass focused. So I give it a B minus instead of you give it a B plus. But I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think he's going to do a lot for them. Adonai Mitchell goes to the Indianapolis Colts in the middle of the second round. I gave this pick a C, which was generous. You give this pick a D. I do not believe in Adonai Mitchell. I think he was a bit overrated, and I loved watching him slide in the draft, which is so mean to say because he was just like chasing his dream.
Very
I'm like,
rude.
I was right. Like,
yeah.
it's so rude of me to say, but I was so happy that my thoughts on Adonai Mitchell seemed to reflect what the NFL thought as well. He still goes in the second round, but how much volume can this guy possibly get with this Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen offense with Jonathan Taylor and with Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs there and the cardio king Alec Pierce? I don't see much happening for Adonai Mitchell this season. So
that's why I gave it a D.
Until we see more of what the passing offense looks like with Richardson, yeah, I'm not loving that pick. One that I am loving was the second tight end off the board here. Ben Sinnott goes to the Washington Commanders. I give this a B plus. Wes, you gave this a C. I got something going here for when you pair skill players to rookie quarterbacks, when they go through rookie minicamp together. I really, really like this pick. I really think this is a glaring need for the Washington Commanders. Logan Thomas is a billion years old, and is now Zach Ertz is there, who's also a billion years old, and there's just going to be not much competition for him. I'm really excited about Ben Sinnott to the Washington Commanders. I give this a B plus. You got a C grade on this one, Wes. What are we thinking about Ben Sinnott, who I've heard people referring to him as the Senator?
I won't be referring to him as that at all.
I love it.
There's a lot, as you said, there's already tight ends that are above him in the depth chart, and they have plenty of good, talented wide receivers, and they have Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson. So there's a lot of pieces there, and it may be too late for him to actually make a fancy impact this season. I think Dynasty, that's a fantastic spot for him. This is awesome. Yeah. This year, I'm not going to buy into it.
Probably not fully in there, but yeah, again, as we said, Dynasty more for these players. A guy we really like, Wes, was Malachi Corley, and we really love the landing spot as well to the New York Jets. I give us a B. You give us an A. Tell me why Corley to the Jets is just awesome for fantasy football.
Because he's awesome, dude. He's so strong. He's incredible.
He's
they don't have another option for the Jets. There's nobody else to catch the ball. And I like Breece Hall's there, Garrett Wilson, and I don't care that Malachi Corley is number 2. He should be number 2. And this is fantastic. It's someone else.
Do you think he'll jump Mike Williams on the depth chart?
I think there's a shot. I think there's a real shot because of Mike Williams' injury history.
Really interesting, yeah.
I think this is great. I mean, you probably don't even have to draft him or redraft. You can probably get him off the waiver wire later on, like week 2 or something. But I love it. There's a real chance Malachi Corley could be a fantastic flex option. I just hyped it up. I was like, he can be in your flex, baby.
He's awesome. He's going to be like your 6th pick when you're looking at your starting lineup, but he's that dude.
No, I think he could actually have like a routine role in people's lineups. Yeah. Nobody's going to take away targets and volume from Garrett Wilson, so it didn't matter who else is going there. But Corley's in a fantastic spot.
I really like Corley a lot. I do. This next guy is somebody I oh my gosh. When this happened, I kept saying that my top running back was going to be whoever goes to the Dallas Cowboys. And then Dallas said, we're good. We got Ezekiel Elliott, dude. Chill out. And then the Arizona Cardinals draft Trey Benson. Oh my goodness, what a home run pick this is. First off, I'm very excited about this for Dynasty. This year, James Conner is still there. I think it's also worth noting, James Conner has never played a full season in his career. I literally tell this to people. When you're drafting James Conner, you're going to get like 11 or 12 really good games. You're going to get like 11 or 12 games out of him. That's what you're drafting him for. So Trey Benson is a great, potentially the biggest insurance running back in redraft this season. Dude, the Arizona Cardinals are just retooling this offense. They are getting ready for a run that they are about to go on for the seasons to come with Kyler Murray, with Marvin Harrison Jr., with Trey McBride, with Trey Benson, Michael Wilson, their pick from last year, their second-round wide receiver from last year, who can be fine in a wide receiver 2 role. Love Trey Benson at Arizona. Top insurance back in my eyes because James Conner is not going to play a full season. And there were weeks last season where we were like, hey, Michael Carter could like play himself into like some flex consideration. There hasn't been anyone around to like really rush James Conner off the field because there hasn't been a running back worthy enough of doing that. And I think Trey Benson is. I love the pick so much.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Great handcuff for the season.
I was so excited, dude. Man, I think I went all caps. Benson to the Cardinals. Oh my God. And just lost it. Jermaine Burton here, wide receiver 3 now for the Cincinnati Bengals. I gave this a B more for dynasty purposes, but also with a little asterisk of if T. Higgins ends up getting traded, if T. Higgins isn't there next season, what does this look like for redraft this year? I'm probably more aligned with your grade of a D, Wes. Is that how? Yeah. How are you feeling?
Exactly. Cool.
Yep. Sweet. This next guy is someone I'm excited to talk about, and it's Blake Corum, running back out of Michigan, gets drafted by the Los Angeles Rams. Wes, you gave this grade a B- for redraft fantasy football this year. Tell us why.
I actually want you to go first because you have a lower grade, and I'm very interested in your pitch.
Okay. I don't want to sway you.
But yeah, convince me.
I give us a C+. And I initially, when the pick comes in, I was like, dang it, dude. I was so excited for Kyren Williams, like top 3 running back season. Oh, what is going on? Why would they do this? Like, why would they spend day 2 capital on a running back? We did this shit last year, dude, with 2 different backfields. We did this shit with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III.
Yes.
And we were like, shit. Why would they do this? Kenneth Walker just came onto the scene. He's so good. And then Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. And it's like, dude, why would they draft Tank Bigsby? Travis Etienne just came on the scene. He's so good. And then we watched the season play out, and nothing happened.
Exactly.
Zach Charbonnet, nothing happened with Tank Bigsby. Zach Charbonnet had like a couple games where it was like, oh, is he a top waiver ad? Interesting. Okay.
Because Walker got hurt.
And then he filled in for Walker in that like primetime game against Dallas, and he had a long screen pass that he caught, and that was like half his fantasy production for the night. Dude, we did this last season. To people who have Kyren Williams and they're worried, it's not going to happen. Blake Corum is talented, don't get me wrong. But when they went and talked to Sean McVay and Les Snead about the pick, about what do you see in Blake Corum? What do you really love about Blake Corum? Well, I think he really reminds us of Kyren Williams. He really is a good guy. So, dude, it's just going to be there's less of a more top 3 running back outcome for Kyren Williams, and still he's going to be an RB1. He's still going to be a top 12 running back this season.
Yes.
Kyren Williams played 12 games last season. He was injured for a bit, and he played a little bit of one, but then he didn't play the rest of it. Played 12 games last season. In 5 of them, he played 85% of the snaps or more. it's like they're just not going to run him into the ground. I still expect this to be, at worst, like a 60-40 split, a 65-35. I still think this will be like a 70-30 split. Kyren Williams is going to be fine. I give us a C+. Corum is also, probably goes with Trey Benson there as a solid insurance back that you can get late in your drafts or pick up off waivers. But I'm not worried anymore. I initially saw it, got worried, and then I was like, dude, we've done this. We've done this.
Yes, we have.
I'm not worried about this.
Yeah. Anyone who is worried about Kyren Williams because of this draft pick is overreacting. It's a complete overreaction. I still think he has complete legitimacy to be a top 3 running back, the way we're all thinking. I give this a B- grade because my hope is that this slides Kyren Williams' draft stock in the redraft. And if he gets up into like the second round, that is an absolute steal. That's what happened to Kenneth Walker. That's what happened to Travis Etienne. This is phenomenal news. And Blake Corum, who is a very good running back, is a good handcuff for an incredibly injury-prone running back. He's played 2 seasons and played 12 games total. This is good. This is good all around. This is fantastic. Nothing happened to Kyren Williams with this. Nothing at all.
Yep. Nothing at all, and we're very excited. Let's go here. The last few guys. Roman Wilson gets drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pretty instantly gets to compete for this wide receiver 2 job. And that's exciting for him, for fantasy football, for the couple of quarterbacks that will be playing there. We both give this a B+, Wes. I don't have much more on it. I think it's just exciting for Russ, for Roman Wilson, and for George Pickens. For his only other competition to come in at the end of the 3rd round, pretty much, is an exciting thing for him. So I'm excited about Roman Wilson, and I think he's a good late round pick and redraft.
Yeah, it'll be tough just when they decide to go back and forth between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, if that changes any wide receivers production. But yeah, I'll give it a B+ like you.
Yeah. Last one here who got drafted towards the back end of round 3 is MarShawn Lloyd, running back for the Green Bay Packers. I gave this a B. You gave it a D, Wes. And now this Packers backfield has pretty consistently, we've seen a not a huge split backfield, but we saw more of A.J. Dillon than I ever wanted to see in this backfield. And I think MarShawn Lloyd is going to hop A.J. Dillon on the depth chart. I know they just brought in Josh Jacobs. His contract is quite misleading because essentially the Packers have an out after this season where essentially they can take like a $9 million dead cap and cut him. And if it doesn't work out. Josh Jacobs, I've never been super sold on. This is definitely more of a dynasty pick for me, but MarShawn Lloyd is somebody that I was thrilled to draft in my rookie drafts so far and will continue to hope to draft in rookie drafts. As far as redraft, you're probably a little closer to reality for this season than I am. He probably won't have much impact, but I think we'll still see some flashes. And this was Daniel Jeremiah's top running back in the class was MarShawn Lloyd out of USC. So interesting stuff there. What do you think about do you have thoughts on Lloyd, or is it more just kind of with a D rating? It's like, nope, not thinking about him this season.
That's it. Yeah. I was like, I would put a D, and then I wrote in my personal notes, like, Noah wanted to talk about him, so I'll just listen and see what he wants to say about MarShawn Lloyd. It's a good point, though.
Yeah. A few other guys that just fell out of the top 3 rounds, we're just going to go over real quick. Jatavion Sanders, tight end from Texas. I give it a B-, Wes. You give it a C+. We're very close. Similar to an Xavier Legette type situation, except for the tight end is a different position. So technically, he has a chance to compete for that top role with like Tommy Tremble, but I'm not really sold. I'm not really sold on Jatavion Sanders. I don't think I'll be drafting him in redraft. I don't think he'll have a huge impact. I know I did have Hayden Hurst as a top 10 tight end last season. So we all saw that happen, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with Jatavion Sanders. A guy who I think is a little more exciting to talk about here, Wes, is the guy I mentioned earlier in the show. Reunited with Bo Nix is Troy Franklin, who gets drafted to the Denver Broncos at the very beginning of the 4th round. I give this a B. You give this a B-. How do you feel about Troy Franklin, Wes, linking up with this college quarterback?
I think it is the best possible scenario for him in his entire NFL career. Yeah. I did not think he did not impress me greatly when I was looking at his highlights. I did not see him as an outstanding wide receiver. I saw Roman Wilson at Michigan, and for me, one of the notes I made about JJ McCarthy was, wow, watching JJ McCarthy highlights sure feels like a Roman Wilson highlight reel. But with Troy Franklin, he can catch a football, and that is all. That's it. This is the best possible spot for him. I don't know if he's ever going to be worth putting in your lineup this season for redraft, but he definitely doesn't have to compete with anyone aside from Cortland Sutton, and who knows who might get traded. And so then he becomes number one. But either way, there's already chemistry there, and I think it is a good spot for him in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I want to move on to Theo Johnson here as we close it out. The last couple of guys. New, potentially starting tight end for the New York Giants. Keep your eye on him there. Not that the starting tight end for the New York Giants last season was any benefit to your fantasy team. Thanks, Daniel Jones. Douche. Anyway, that's really all I got to say. Keep an eye on Theo Johnson. He could be a waiver wire snag if we see him have some production in the first couple weeks. Going to talk about my favorite running back in the class, Jaylen Wright. And Wes, we were playing Fortnite Battle Royale together on Saturday as the draft was panning out, as the fourth round was going through, and the Dolphins trade up to pick, and I'm like, we're going to draft a lineman because we need to bolster up the line. And jokingly, I'm like, well, the 20th pick in the fourth round of the NFL draft might own select Jaylen Wright as the saying Jaylen Wright at the same time, and I lost my mind.
He did.
I gave this a B+. I'm probably a little more excited than most other people. I'm very excited about Dynasty. You gave us a C. Here's the thing. My boy, Raheem Mostert, he's still there. But the thing about Raheem Mostert is that he's probably got max 2 more years left in him. And last year was the first season we've seen with Raheem Mostert where he hasn't really gotten hurt. And he really just came to ball and just produced so much. I don't want to say it's an enigma, and I don't want to say it's a one-off. But adding to this running back room with this guy who has so much speed, it's clear Mike McDaniel likes speed. And I'm really excited because potentially next year, and I think we'll see flashes of Jaylen Wright this year, but potentially next year, this backfield being a 1-2 tandem of Devon Achane and Jaylen Wright, and if both of these guys only play 50% of snaps, they both still potentially be top 10 running backs in fantasy.
That would be
the explosiveness they have is incredible. So love Jaylen Wright. I give it a B+. You give it a C. More of a redraft for this year, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and the only other thing I'll add to what you commented was that, Raheem Mostert does have injury history. We're grateful that he didn't miss any time last year. And I'm willing to say right now that was a one-hit wonder. I think Raheem Mostert had a fluke season, 31 years old. Congratulations, you dominated a franchise record.
21 touchdowns.
It was insane. You're awesome. Thank you. But definitely not going to happen again this season. And Devon Achane also has an injury history, so it is possible that Jaylen Wright sees more opportunities than we may expect. So who knows? But right now, in the depth chart.
Both Mostert and Achane missed time last season. So for them to stop, I'm sure they value and love Jeff Wilson a whole lot, but for them to be able to grab another guy, trade up to grab this guy in the fourth round, gave up a third round pick next year to trade up and draft this guy. Mike McDaniel's got plans, and I'm excited for it. Now Jaylen Wright's excited for it too. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He did not love that he had to wait to get selected until day 3 of the draft. He tweeted a little bit about it, and he is excited to prove the doubters wrong. He's got that Amon-Ra St. Brown chip on his shoulder there. Last one here. Wes, I'm going to let you take this, even though I'm ranked higher, and it's really because I just started hearing about this guy today.
Same.
I want you to tell me about Tyron Tracy Jr., who is this running back out of Purdue that the Giants drafted, converted from wide receiver to running back. Is that what happened?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He looks good, dude.
Oh, I know everything about him. I know everything. Hold on. I'm definitely not alive. His name. Yeah, I'm I'm just typing in Tyron Tracy highlights. Awesome. YouTube. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. I'm trying to see what nickname they give him. They always give him nicknames on these highlight reels. They don't give him a single nickname. Never mind. All right. So here's the only reason we're mentioning him on this show. He could be the starting running back for the Giants. Like, I know Devin Singletary's there, but like, that's the reason we're mentioning him. Saquon's gone to Philadelphia, and they just drafted this guy. I know it's super late in the draft, but like, come on, at least we got to pay attention to someone who has an opportunity to carve out a role as a starter, or at least a percentage holder in the snap count. So that's all I have about Tyron Tracy Jr.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for our rookie grades, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're excited, if you guys can't tell, about all these rookies coming into the league. Excited to see what happens. Let us know what you think of our grades. Where do we miss? Where do we hit? Let us know who you're most excited to draft, if you've drafted anybody in your dynasty leagues, and whose fantasy value was hurt the most from the draft. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you make Teddy the Troll smile by subscribing, ringing the bell. Hang out with us on our Discord, through our Patreon, patreon.com/4thandtroll fantasy. Follow us on social media at 4th and Troll. And we will see you guys in the next episode. My name is Noah Selby.
And I'm Selby.
And this has been 4th and Troll Fantasy.
4th and Troll Fantasy is a production of FQ Media and Selby Artistic Workshop.